What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Coffee Club Podcast, episode 84. Back in the studio, very quiet after the rowdiness of last week, being out in Philly at the Penn Relays with the live crowd. Feels weird. It feels very comforting to be back here, but also I feel like I'm missing a little something, but no, it feels good to be back, very comfortable. Also, I was just like super nervous last week because we had Devin Allen on the show. I was like, oh, don't fuck this one up. But so this is nice to be back. But to start off, we have a couple of thank yous. Well, we actually have a lot of thank yous because we had a amazing trip to Penn and everything around it. We'll get into it. But we start off with a bean thank you, George.
Start with some beans. All right, this is probably our furthest traveled beans, probably.
Well, we got Australia beans though.
That is true. These ones
other than Australia,
hand delivered from Malaysia through. Originally from Brian C, epic super fan from Malaysia, but through Jordan Donnelly, who was somehow in Kuala Lumpur like 2 weeks ago.
The middleman.
And maybe on his way to Vietnam to the factory or something. So I don't even know how that happened, but he actually FaceTimed me at like 7 o'clock in the morning because he was with, like, Brian had showed up to Jordan's hotel to drop the beans off.
Are they friends?
No.
They must
did they
be
know
friends.
each other? They must know each other somehow.
He was telling me the story, I think this is Brian, about the OAC shirt. Is that not right? I
thought that was in Japan, the OAC shirt.
That was in Japan. Okay.
I could be wrong.
Unrelated topic, because I thought that Brian was the OAC shirt guy, because Jordan also messaged me about it. But either way, fan or friend.
Yeah, I don't even know. But I think it was literally Easter morning at like 7. Did he FaceTime you guys?
No, he texted me a lot about it,
yeah.
Which was like, it was crazy, the story.
But anyway, we got some beans from Fika Coffee Roasters. They smell delicious, and also a lovely postcard.
Cool postcard.
It says, "Dear Gus, Keith, T. George, and CB Morgs."
I love how you put Gus first. I love that. He knows the CEO needs to be put first.
Here's some fresh beans from my local roastery in Kuala Lumpur and Malaysian themed coasters to go along with them flat whites. Keep it classy, boys.
Appreciate it.
Cheers, Brian.
We love that. And the other big thank you, if you want to hold it up, Ollie, for the YouTube audience, for those listening, you want to describe what you got there, Ollie?
So
you're holding it backwards.
Yeah, I know. I was going to reveal it after I mentioned what happened. We were in. It's like a reveal.
Yeah.
Doing a reveal here, even though they probably saw it when it was on the table. So a lovely lady called Jilly was contacting Morgan, George, and I over social media to meet up with us at some point during Penn. She had a gift for us, and we were obviously very excited. She came through the backstage, as they called it, behind the on store, and she gave us this beautiful painting she did of a special member of the Coffee Club group.
There it is.
Here's Gus, painted by Jilly. Really, really cool. Did her own. She said she did her own like kind of design on it. So he's like very sunsetty. I'd say it's Gus looking into the sunset.
Yeah, you got to describe it very vividly for the audio audience.
Yeah, so he reminds me of like. I mean, you guys have all seen Gus. If you listen to us, if you haven't, you can check him out on Coffee Club social media or my social media, or even pretty much George and Morgan's social media as well. But he's very like gooey. I think that's the best way to describe it.
That's a great adjective.
He's very gooey, and it's like melting, like with the kind of very, very warm colors. So he looks like he's reflecting on his life in the sunset, in a very, very gooey kind of texture. I think it's acrylic.
We should put it on the Instagram.
We should do a nice like photo shoot of it and put it up there because it's a really amazing painting.
I think when she revealed it to us, the three of us were kind of a bit we lost for words because we do forget that people are fans of us and listen to our podcast. Sometimes we definitely normalize it, and she did an amazing painting of Gus, and it definitely touched me. I got very emotional because he wasn't obviously not there, so. But I showed it to him. He was very impressed. He tried to give it a few licks, which is always a thumbs up from Gus. But thank you so much, Jilly. We're going to try and figure out where to hang it. We obviously want it to be sort of in the area when we're doing the Coffee Club podcast. So, but thank you very much. It's beautiful. We love it.
Yeah, thank you so much. And speaking of Gus, you may notice no Gus today.
No Gus.
He's on a work trip.
He's on a business trip.
He's on the road, but we're going to see him soon. So we're missing him today, but he's got bigger fish to fry, and we'll be we'll be back with him very soon. And
Yeah.
that's all I think we're going to say about that.
That's the Gus update.
It's a little cryptic puzzle for you detectives out there.
Okay.
That's all we're going to say. But yeah, so we're going to LA this weekend. Well, on Thursday. Sorry. And we would love to do another meetup on Sunday. So we're going to pencil it in right now because we have to change our flights around and we have to work out where to do it. If anyone knows like a good spot to have a meetup and like get some coffee after in the area of Mount Sac, is that where I guess we're staying close to Mount Sac?
I think we're staying in Walnut.
In that area, that'd be huge. So we don't, like we could do it at the beach or something. We're talking about that, but that's such a trek for us to get there, like an Uber on Sunday morning. So pencil that in for all our California fans or anyone that's there for the meet. Got to change some flights around, but we obviously did the meetup last Sunday in the rain in Philly, and it was sick. But we'd love to do another one in California. You guys want to know a fun fact about Mount Sac that I just found out?
Give it to me.
Well, I don't know how to present this. SAC actually stands for something.
Ball
San
sack?
Antonio College.
Oh, George already knew it. It's not that fun of a fact. I don't know why.
know that?
I just assumed like SAC was like a word.
Did you know that?
I thought it was ball sack, but yeah.
Nah, it's true.
It's just not as cool now.
Yeah, San Antonio College just doesn't have the
It
same.
doesn't have the same ring to it.
as
But
the Mount Borsac Invitational.
the Mount Borsac invite. But you know, you got to sometimes be fact checked.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just happens in this business. So
And one day, Mount Borsac Diamond League.
Mount Borsac Diamond, dude.
That's the dream.
I would headline that one.
That's
if I could, I would love to.
That's what
headline
we're
it.
working towards.
Yeah, we're building towards it.
That's the end goal. Head sponsor.
Hopefully, it'll be activated in the next few years.
But to round out our thank yous, we have like the general Penn Relays. If you follow us on Instagram, you'll see we posted a reel today, which was made by Dan, who we can't say enough about this guy. He came through, messaged us the week before it, and we were like, he offered to do some video making for us and make a video. And he showed up 3 of the days and caught all this footage, and then he put it together into the coolest reel ever. Like I think it's the coolest thing that we've ever been able to put out, just a behind the scenes of the Penn Relays going through the days. So big thank you to him for doing that, and check that out if you haven't seen it yet. I would say thanks just to On in general for hooking us up. It was a great trip. Doing the podcast was so good. It was set up so well. Thank you to Devin Allen for coming out. Like biggest guest ever. I can't believe like he had to drive. He had to drive from his home like 30 or 40 minutes in Philly. He got swamped by fans. And
He literally, when he came in, it was kind of funny because initially we were sitting there and it definitely got out that Devin Allen was coming. So
it was the only reason that we had people sitting down.
People heard about it and then they all of a sudden took the empty seats, sat down, and then people were kind of swarming, looking around, trying to figure out when he's coming in. And then when he came in, we had to get Andy Weeding to kind of push people away and say, hey, sit down and then you'll be able to do autographs after the podcast because he got swamped.
Yeah,
I love that kid in
away.
the front row who just kept yelling to his friends, yo, Devin Allen's coming. No, I don't know when. He's coming.
Yeah, they were like heckling us for a bit.
Yeah.
Like, is he actually coming? Is he actually coming?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I hope so. I don't know what we're going to do. And because it was all these high school, the day had a lot of high school 4x4 and 4x1. I don't want to know how many heats they have because it's just it must be hundreds of these relay teams, but these kids were literally warming up, and some of the kids are like, hey, what time is he actually coming? Because I gotta go I gotta go race. I'm like, yeah, he'll be here soon, don't worry. But
absolutely no clue who we were.
Not at all.
Definitely not our standard
Wasn't our
audience.
demographic. No. But they definitely were interested.
Nice to reach some new listeners.
Yeah.
Definitely reach some new listeners, and Devin made it so easy. We'll get into that more, but just to round it out, thank you to Tom Wang for being Tom Wang and helping organize our meetup and everything else that he did. Always so nice to see him. And yeah, just everyone else that we saw at the meetup that we did as well. Seeing you guys just makes it all worth it, just makes it feel good. Just putting a face to the listeners. Yeah, we see the numbers, we have listeners sometimes, and the numbers are cool, but just meeting one happy fan, that makes it all worth it. So
can't wait for next year.
Yeah.
How are we gonna top that?
I don't know, man.
We got to get Michael John. We got to get someone pretty famous.
But they got to be relevant to Philly though. That's the hard part. We literally got someone that plays for the Eagles.
That's pretty hard to top.
There's no other
Do we just do Devin Allen again?
Devin Allen part 2.
Yeah.
Maybe by then he'll be a world record holder or something, or a Super Bowl champion. So then it'll be next level.
He can bring the trophy.
he can bring the trophy onto the show. But yeah, I think that's a nice kind of just lead in into just expanding upon that and recapping the Penn Relays and what it was. For us, from our perspective, it's kind of like a big work trip, and I mean that in like the best way possible. It is like work in terms of like we have stuff scheduled to do outside of our training, but really like it's like the funnest, coolest thing ever, being able to interact with the fans, and everything that was set up for us this year was just set up so amazing. So
the only down was the rain.
The rain.
Much. Like everything was pretty well organized, and On did a fantastic job. It just sucked because of the rain. The rain just did not stop.
I would say it only sucked on the meetup.
Probably I guess the autograph
and
signing.
the bit of the poster signing.
Oh yeah,
that was tough for people
because it was made of paper and
it
sucked because you'd have to kind of conceal
and
it.
we were kind of covered, but then if people wanted to come get it,
they had to get wet. But
one kid came who just like he's like, yeah, I just finished my long run. He was completely drenched.
Yeah,
shout out to that kid.
Felt bad for them. But going through the days of what we had to do, just so you guys get an idea, it was like a 4-day trip for us. So we'll go through it like that. Day 1 and 2 for us was just, well, it's kind of different because Ollie and I didn't race.
No.
Ollie didn't race because he's getting ready for the big fish of the Diamond League. And Morgan didn't race because he's injured. So George was the only one racing. But the first 2 days, Geordie was still there doing all like the kind of same, I don't know what you call it, media stuff that we were doing. Day 1, we roll up and we did the podcast. Mm-hmm. That was like the big thing for me on day 1. And as we already said, like it went amazing. Like very nervous to do it, but because we didn't realize exactly how it was going to go. Like we didn't know because last year we filmed it on the infield, but we had like the headphones on. I think, did we have headphones on? Maybe we didn't, but either way, it wasn't like live audio.
The people around us had headphones on.
Oh yeah, you're right. The people but it wasn't like broadcast audio. No. So while we were in the middle of it was a pretty packed stadium that day. It was as if like nothing was happening.
It's true, yeah.
There's like no pressure because no one could hear what we were doing. Whereas this year, it was being broadcast over the whole warm-up area.
Speakers.
Like I don't even know if it was just our area or it was the whole warm-up area. And we didn't know that exactly going into it. And I think that's the biggest reason why we were like, thank God we have Devin Allen, because otherwise for these sprinter kids, it would have been just like,
why are these guys talking?
Yeah.
Like, who are these guys?
Who are these guys talking shit about Gus? And like coffee and stuff. Like, so luckily like all that went perfect. And then the other cool thing that we got to do for more OAC related stuff, like the 2 things that they had organized for us was the Thursday and Friday mornings. We had how would you describe it? We were like helping out serving coffee.
We were coffee waiters.
Yeah. So we thought we might be baristas. Yeah. Ollie was talking big game.
I was excited to rip out some coffee. Yeah. Really excited.
But turned out we were just coffee waiters.
Yeah. Which
handing out.
I guess makes sense because if you think about like a business partnering with On, like they obviously want to have their employees like make the coffees and make the orders, whereas like they just don't want some random guy or girl turning up and just going, yeah, I'm gonna make coffee.
Yeah, I actually didn't realize that it was gonna be a coffee company that was doing it. I thought they were just gonna have a machine literally for us.
That was my
and they were just like, make whatever you want.
That was my assumption as well, and I was
we should suggest
keen about that. Year. Well, I think it would be cool because I believe that everybody in that team can make a really good coffee. Like
I think that's a little risky. I don't know if you're
except for Yard. Yard is the only one that I think wouldn't be able to make a coffee.
If you're one of these people that are ordering a coffee and you don't understand, that aspect of it, that you're having a pro runner, not a barista make you coffee, you'd be pretty pissed when if it was bad.
Well, that would be to do with the sign. Like you wouldn't say like.
But it was going to be free.
Yeah.
It was free.
You can't have too high expectations if it's free.
Get a coffee from a professional runner. It would more if they could headline it in a way in which it's like, okay, this is a professional runner making my coffee, not like a company or barista. Like it's a bit of fun, you know?
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think that most of the people on the team would be decent at it. The only issue would come through with like people ordering like different drinks that you're not used to making. So you'd have to maybe do a little training.
It was quite an extensive menu.
Yeah.
There's all different crazy flavors.
And they had pastries there as well.
Yeah. But it did make sense because we were the ones taking the orders and then giving them to the baristas, but it meant that we were the face that was
We were engaging
greeting the
with people.
people. Because then on the table in front of us, there was also our pins, because we all have like these individual pins, which is sick. And then there was also temporary tattoos that On had made up for the Penn Relays and all that. So pretty much it was just another cool excuse to get to interact with fans. And the funniest thing was, because it was just like in the morning in like the general area where like people would walk by, there was obviously a lot of people there that didn't know who we were. And even the fact that we had pins in front of us, this happened like 5 times where like they'd be like looking at the pins and they wouldn't put it together that the person on the pin was the person like
taking their order.
Taking their order. I'm like, do you know who's on that pin? And they'd be like, I don't know. I'd be like, oh, he's right there standing in front of you. Because I was doing it with Yared. So I'd be like, yeah, he's right there. He's the American record holder in the indoor mile. And then they'd start going crazy. And they'd be like, no way, man. Like, can I get an autograph and do all this stuff?
Yeah.
So it's always funny to kind of bridge that little disconnect there, like putting the face to the name.
I think it definitely 100% helps your branding, because I had that happen to me with people when they asked, all like, what do you do? What's your time? And then you tell them, and all of a sudden, like, I'd check my phone and then there'll be like 10 followers from just random people. Because they're obviously people that are like, oh, we're fans of the sport, but we just don't put face to name.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and I think it was good to have that kind of interaction with fans, particularly fans that probably know, because like I think I was there transition wise between you and Yard, and Yard was getting like photos near like when I was just about to leave, because people were starting to realize, oh, that's Yard, he's the American record holder in the indoor mile. So it's nice that I think that was a good way to get people, like you said, an excuse to get people to
you start to
come
learn a bit about the psyche of the high schools and how to infiltrate them from a marketing perspective.
Nico.
If you have anything, Nico Young, obviously. But if you have anything free to give them, they'll go crazy. Like, it doesn't really matter what it is. If it's free, they'll go crazy. And then also, even if they didn't know who you were before, if you tell them what your mile time is and you're a 350 miler, they'll start going crazy. So there's like these ways that like to just very easily build up the hype, and then they'll start wanting to get your autograph and doing all that. Obviously, there were also the people who did know who we were, and they were awesome to meet as well. But it was funny to get both sides of that. And then we had a kind of similar vibe with the other thing that we did as a whole team, which was the poster signings, which that one, was it in the rain both days?
It kind of rained.
I think it
a little
was.
bit, yeah, on the second day.
I think so.
I think it was in the rain both days, so that was kind of funny. But it was a cool poster. Unfortunately, George and I didn't make it onto it.
So did a lot of people that didn't make it. It was.
You only make it on if you're varsity. Me and Morgan JV.
The idea was, I think they had the runners in the top 10 ranked. Is that why they had those selection of runners?
It sounds like a made up thing.
That sounds made up.
So why did they have those runners on it then?
Just because I think
Varsity.
I mean, that's what Weeding told me, that it was because they were ranked in the top 10.
No, see, that seems like a thing that comes out like a backwards way of explaining it. Because I don't think they would have said, let's make a poster and let's put the top 10 people on it. I think it would have been like, let's make a poster, let's put these athletes on it. Oh, they're all ranked in the top 10.
Well, what I was told at the gym was that they were trying to make a poster horizontal with everyone on it. Didn't work apparently, and they said, okay, we have to simplify it. And Weeding said the reason why they simplified it to these athletes is because they were ranked in the top 10.
I mean, it was a sick poster, but then, like, I don't think it, like, I would have obviously liked to be on it. Like, all of us would have been, if it's going to be a team poster.
The poster we had last year had everyone on it. So it's hard to transition to this one and be like, well, the team's not on it. And also you had people, OAC Europe athletes and Oceania athletes, but they weren't separated. It was just OAC. So...
yeah, like I understand why people were on it, because like these guys are absolute stars, but it's like, I mean, the team has a lot of stars.
Yeah, it's just a poster idea. I mean, the next one that they do next year, they'll probably do a completely different one. They might have separate ones for Europe and for Oceania and
there'll just
Antarctica.
Be,
and
each year there'll be less and less people on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's just Ritz.
Well, dude, I felt bad for Rich that he wasn't on it, because I get it because he's the coach, but also he's the coach.
Yeah.
And he's like,
should just
last year he was the center of the poster.
Yeah.
We should tell Andy and the people on, just do a Ritz poster and we all sign it. It's gonna be like a photo of Ritz that's like just like perfect like personification of him. Like
like give him
Visually.
like an 8-pack and stuff.
Yeah, just go on this,
The
like really,
perfect
really
man.
like. Just,
Wait, let's do the Vitruvian Man, like the Leonardo da Vinci
yeah.
one. And it's just written.
It's just writ, and then everyone signs it. I think that'd be an amazing poster.
So
It'd be pretty awesome.
But like aesthetically, it was a sick poster.
Yeah,
I was gonna
the visuals were sick.
I was gonna draw myself onto it. I did on the first one, and then it just took forever. And there was a line of kids. I was like, oh, I can't do this. But the kids appreciated that. We handed out more pins there. So another like really cool way.
The kids they were surprisingly shocked by, like you said, if you tell them how fast your mile is, they're like blown away. But also, how fast do they think you have to be a professional runner?
So some of
They don't even know.
Yeah, that's
Some of
the
them
thing.
didn't know
Like,
that we were professional.
they must just that's probably true.
Because they said,
too.
"Oh, what college do you run from?" Like some parents came up and said, "Oh, what college do you run from?" Well, like, and then you're just like, "Well, I'm professional." And then they start going, "Oh, shit!" So you're the big deal.
Yeah. If we're getting
deal,
paid
big
to do
dogs.
this, we better not say 4:30. They might be a little disappointed.
Yeah,
But
But
so,
it was nice to see how blown away they are.
yeah.
No way.
yeah, I think the coolest thing was the coaches that would come up and get a poster like for their team, and then they would also get a bunch of pins, and they're gonna like hand out the pins. I think the pins are such a good idea because
Yeah.
you can just you can give them
You
to
can
people,
collect them
and you can
too.
just collect them. You'll have them. He's such a cool little like trinket or whatever to have.
One of the photographers has all the pins except for mine.
Why doesn't he have yours?
Well, mine ran out. They didn't have enough.
Sold
of mine.
out.
Well,
Too
they
popular.
weren't sold out. I wasn't that popular. It was more. I think Weeding sent my pins to Australia,
You had a limited supply.
so I had limited supply. Yeah,
But,
but the photographer, he had everyone's pins, even Helen's, and they didn't have mine. And I can tell he was frustrated with that. But hopefully next meet he'll get my pin.
yeah, people might not know what these. I don't think many people will actually know what these pins look like, but they are sick. If you've ever seen a picture of them, they all have our country's flag on it, and then it's like a nice, like animated, like cartoon kind of picture of us running, and there's like very cool. So those are always fun to have a meeting to hand out to people. So yeah, to get to do the post signing, all that, and connect with some new fans was awesome. I feel for one fan in particular who. The people that were racing left just like a little bit earlier, and this kid, after all the people that were racing left, this kid came running in. He's like, "Where's Mario? Where's Mario?
Oh, yeah.
He's my favorite runner ever. I want Mario." I'm like, "Yeah, he just left. he just left. If you were like 2 minutes earlier, like you would have like seen him and you would have gotten a picture with him and gotten to talk with him." And then he was so devastated. So sorry to that kid. You'll have to be there next year, I guess, to catch him. But I do love seeing all the kids interact with the different pro athletes and like seeing which ones they know, because it's just always funny. Like there's these some of the kids, like the way high schoolers speak is also like so interesting to me all the time. Like some of them are so quiet, and then some of them are like so cool. One of them I think he only recognized Yared, and Yared was at the end of the line. He gets to him and he just goes, "What's up, big hoss? How you doing?" It's just like the funniest thing to hear a high schooler say that to Yared. And
How did Yared react to that?
I think he loved it. I don't know.
Oh, that's awesome.
So good times there. And so that was our first 2 days on that. Yeah, that was Thursday, Friday, racing on Saturday. So Friday, Jordy had to go do his pre-meet, getting ready to race the big mile on the Saturday. How are you feeling after those first couple of days going into the race?
Well, Joe took me through the ringer post coffee ordering. We put in 10 miles on the river. Got like a bunch of 550 miles in there. Joe's way to feel good is just to run faster. So his legs were feeling a bit tired off playing. He got there a day earlier than us, do this kids thing. And if he wants his legs to feel good, he just runs even faster.
That is the joke, like a strategy.
Flush it all out.
So crushed 10 miles in between some on stuff. And then, yeah, pretty chill. We did maybe a shortened pre-meet because you can't get on Franklin Field, obviously, because it's like the meet. I don't know
meet's
what
like all
day the
day.
meet starts, but it starts like first thing in the morning. And we got there to sell coffees. To give out coffees at, I suppose, like 8:45. And there's kids already in the corral, like ready to rip a 4x1.
It goes all day.
9 o'clock in the morning. I would love to know how many like individual relays there are over 4 days. It's got to be in the hundreds.
Easily.
Oh, yeah.
If not 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know. But no, I think pretty chill, pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-meet is pretty standard.
Feeling good for the Saturday race. Nice and easy. Because those first 2 days are a little hard when you do have events. Because normally when we go to a race, you just have like nothing. You clear the schedule completely. You do your pre-meet, and your runs, and you're running less normally because you guys weren't really tapering very much for this one, but normally you're running less and you're just like going like sloth mode, and so you feel really good. So this one,
Goblin mode.
goblin mode. This one you're feeling like a little bit, maybe a little tired, but then at the end of the day, like, I mean, you're probably fine. And then Saturday came around, and it was sick because Saturday is the main event in terms of like professional running at Penn Relays. I think it must be the day that has the biggest crowd. All the Jamaican fans are there. And like it was a shitty day for weather. Like it was rainy and all that, and on and off, like a little bit cold. So they weren't like the top level of the stands weren't fully filled, but it didn't really matter still because all the rest of it was full, and the noise that you get at Penn Relays is kind of hard to describe. You have to be there. I don't know if it's the acoustics of the stadium. It's kind of like a bit of a bowl, but every time there's like anything exciting happening on the track, which is always like a close finish or whatever, the fans, like they're all standing up and they're just going mental. And we got to, while George was warming up, we got to go watch the college 4x-mile. Was it? It must be the 4x-mile.
Yep.
Which, first off, shout out to the Wisconsin boys
DMR's the night before.
for winning the
DMR
DMR, which was epic to see. And then the 4x-mile, the collegiate one, was a crazy race because, like, I think for a lot of the fans, a 4x-mile is a little bit long, like this, because there's always a lull. But then it's still, the tension is building. And by the time it got to the last leg, I think there were 8 or 9 teams in it.
I honestly love it when the last leg slows down a little bit.
Yeah.
Just because then all the teams are together, and that's what everyone wants to see anyway. If it's like so strung out, like the women's one was super strung out and like very impressive by, or maybe that's DMR, Stanford or whatever it is. But like, then it's just a foregone conclusion. I want to see something. The men's one, there was, I want to say 10 teams in it with literally 200 to go.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And I don't think, like, they definitely, I can't tell you the exact splits, but the first 800 was pretty cruisy, and then it started kind of the ramp up. And the last lap, like being in the stands to watch it was so exciting.
It was epic.
And we thought Wisconsin was going to win. And then freaking Villanova comes on the outside and gets it by the smallest of margins.
I mean, I think they had like 7 or 8 teams finish it within a second.
It was such a fat kick down.
Really, really cool. I mean, that's college relay racing, right? Like, that's what people come to watch.
Adam Spencer's got a great last 100 at the moment.
He runs really. He's run really. I mean, the close in his the DMR like was sick. But
who did he kick down the DMR? Was it the Duke kid?
Dude,
no, that was the 4-mile.
There was a
was it also
bit of a finish. Villanova, yeah.
I think it was Villanova.
It was the
they
same
went
kid.
1-2.
It was the same.
2-1.
It was the same kid. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that's even cooler. Well, the 800 like for Wisconsin was the big one. We ran.
I think Mick told us 147.
Yeah, 147.
Yeah, I
in
think he was
pouring
2
rain.
seconds quicker than everyone else.
Yeah.
So that's how we won the DMR.
Yeah.
But no, I think it was like pretty much a lot of the same characters, and it was the same kid from DMR who's from Villanova, whose name I don't know, but yeah, he got the big win. And like there's some collegiate heavy hitters in there. Like there's UW,
NCAA
Oklahoma
mile
State,
champ and 3K champ in that final league.
Like these are some of the best milers in the country. And so Adam Spencer, ever since he stepped foot at Wisconsin, I mean even before that he was amazing, but he's a kid who knows how to win races, like consistently performing so well. So if you ever see him in a race in a 1500, he's someone that's good to bet on.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that kind of just set the stage for like we're here at the Penn Relays this Saturday, like just so exciting. And Ollie and I went on the infield for when all our teammates were racing, which is
We on the infield for Devin Allen
and for Devin Allen, which is a very exciting
Coffee Club TC now.
Yeah, and we have an official record, 110 hurdles for the team, 1346, I believe. I'm sure he'll break that.
That record's going to be going down.
Yeah.
Luckily, we didn't put rollovers in his contract for Coffee Club TC, otherwise he'd be in trouble.
He's going to keep breaking the team
yeah.
record.
Yeah.
But that was a crazy race because, he won by such a small margin as well. But, all the fans were going crazy for him. And then we get to the
women's 1500.
Yeah, the women's was before the race, before you guys.
Their start was so weird because they were pushed up against the brick wall.
Yeah.
The track is the weirdest shape. Is it because... Like, now all the races are done in lane 4. Is that because lane 1, did it used to be 400, is it 400 yards or something? Why'd they make the track so small?
I don't know my conversion of yards to meters, but that could be it.
It could be, right?
Yeah.
Like back in the day, it was like a 400-yard track.
Yeah.
So now we have to run in.
Is it lane 4?
Might even be lane 5.
Yeah. Is where you run
It's
for a
whack.
400-meter lap. It's crazy. And yeah, as Ollie said, the women's 1500 start. Well, another confusing thing is that every event they would change where the finish line was.
So we were trying to
go back
figure
and
it
forth.
out.
So we didn't know where they were starting, where they were finishing.
Yeah.
The women's 15 back up against the bricks. I mean, it was a pretty good field.
They're also standing there for like a while. Whereas, I mean, there's obviously most racing you stand there for a while. That's just the way it goes. But the way they were standing there, it was cold. They were against the brick wall. I was like, this does not look fun. They look like they just get them going. You know, they're all ready to race. Just get them going.
But
I
I think the ladies were ready to go. It was Pacewell and Josette and Cinta did amazing, coming first and second, 404, 407.
Yeah.
Good way to get the outdoor season rolling. I think they both looked very strong, and they're both racing again this coming weekend
at Mount Balsac.
at Mount Balsac Invitational.
Same
So,
event? But
Josette's
wait,
doing
no.
the 5K.
Cinta doing the 15.
Cinta another 1500. So I think that just kind of set a really good tone for the team. Also, if you're a very astute watcher, you would have seen they're wearing a different kit from our usual kit, which I think we should explain to the fans, because all the members of the OAC were wearing singlets or jerseys with some interesting design on them, the polka dots.
The polka dots.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want me to? I can explain it.
Yeah.
Done a collaboration with it's like a running shoe store in France or in Paris called Distance. The logo, the squiggle that people saw, McFleet was the one that kind
Pointed it out.
That is a Distance logo.
Do you know what it is?
The squiggle?
Yeah.
No, not sure. No.
I thought it looked like a worm.
Yeah, maybe like a trail.
It could be a trail.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
I wasn't sure.
Or a worm.
It looks cool,
definitely unclear on what the logo is.
The logo looks cool. I don't care.
Yeah.
But the uniform looks sick. Looked amazing. But they did a collaboration with On, and they're planning on having it at Penn Relays, and then they're planning on doing it at the Elite Meet as well.
They're doing it sound running.
They're doing sound running, and then they're going to do it at the Paris Diamond League, and then I think a meet after the Paris Diamond League.
I think the big one is the Paris Diamond League, because I think they're going to sell the singlets there.
I think that the next day they're selling it at some sort of gallery where there's a photographer there at On. This is like going on a side journey, but he's also taking photos for a gallery for that whole promotional thing for the Distance.
They're making like a little exposition out of it, which would be pretty cool. I can't tell you the specifics of it, but I guess he's capturing the drama of
just
track and field, but specifically just taking pictures of, I think, the OAC
with the
athletes or anyone else that's wearing the Distance kit. I don't know who else is wearing it.
It's really, really cool though. I thought it looked amazing. I mean, it's nice because we kind of got to see it as a, not competing in it. So that was cool because I thought it looked great. And the cool thing too, which hopefully will happen in the future with OAC and just regular On athletes, you could tell the difference even with the similar color theme between, because I think there was a great shot of Sage and Leah Miller runs for On with Team Boss. They you could tell that uniform and then the polka dot uniform, you could tell it differently, but you could also tell the same kind of color gradient. And
we would love to eventually for our OAC team to have its own uniform. I think in all sports or whatever, having a cool, unique uniform or any collaboration is always just so fun because
makes you look sick too.
Yeah, because it's the uniform's always pretty boring. I've noticed now that they're getting cooler. Not to shout out the other brands, but I've noticed the other brands have been doing for their big stars. They'll do really unique, not just necessarily the colorways, which the colorways are cool, but even the fit of it. RJ Wilson, did you see what she was wearing?
So sick.
It's a single arm sleeve connected to
a bodysuit. I think.
It looks amazing. So it's very cool and very fun to be able to do that. We see it in other sports all the time. I don't know, the one that I don't know why this comes to my head, but all the different basketball jerseys. Have you guys seen the Heat Miami Vice jersey? Mm-hmm. It's just cool, fun stuff to do, and there's no reason not to do it, really.
Yeah, and I think brands would have a lot of fun doing that too, because they can kind of create
definitely
cool things and concepts and stuff. So the Distance collaboration with On is a really cool thing, and it was nice for us to be able to be a part of it. And our squad looked pretty.
It's also a nice precedent because it is temporary. It's only kind of 3-4 races, and then we'll go back to the other one. But it sets a nice precedent for future collaborations if
definitely.
other designers want to do stuff.
Yeah, I wonder if I assume it'll only be available to be bought in person, but who knows? Maybe
Could be online.
Maybe it'll be online on the
Yeah.
internet at some point for people to buy it. But yeah, so that's a little explanation of the kits because I know a couple of people were like, "What's going on here?" Because I don't know what the plan was if like things ended up a bit rushed, but there were like before that meet there wasn't really anything said about it. But maybe that's like kind of what the idea was, to be a bit of a surprise. And now here we are explaining it, and we're ruining the mystique of it. So apologies for that. But yeah, next race was then the big boys mile, which we had talked about previously how cool it would be to have a mile at this meet for anyone on our team who wants to compete in it. Because it's just every single person on our team can race a mile at any time. Like it's always like a fun, cool thing to do. And you know, the idea of breaking the 4x-mile world record it's a great idea, but it requires a lot. Whereas just going out and having like a mile to race it's just a lot easier to pull off. And as you saw, half the team raced it, and it was like really cool to have George racing alongside Mario and Joe, 3 athletes coming from slightly different angles, not meeting in the middle, but meeting an event which they all feel very comfortable running. And then seeing the gun go off, and it was a pretty good field. You had kind of your classic Eric
Holt the Bolt.
Holt Mania. And a bunch of other good athletes in there. But
I'd love to see his pre-race workout for this one.
He does a pre-race workout?
No, just like he just does crazy training.
Does he really?
He rips like 34-second 300s and stuff.
Oh, now I know what you mean. Like what he did to prepare.
What he did earlier in the week.
I thought you were saying
no, not right before. Well, and maybe he does. I don't know.
You know, those guys do they do like the tempo work, warm up, which a lot of people do now. But they do a bit of threshold work in the warm up. I don't know if he specifically does it, but I know his training group does it. But yeah, watching this race was it was an interesting one because I think for us watching it, George was obviously just running it to win, and he was positioned. I don't know if you felt like this, but from the outside, it looked like you were positioned like pretty perfect, like just nice the whole time. I think us on the outside thought that Joe Klecker would race it a bit differently.
Yeah.
I think he really wanted to race it like a miler. I don't think he really wanted to expose himself and do anything. But just from the outside, we were like, well, Joe's the 10K guy, so you would assume he wants to make it as hard as possible for as long as possible. That's just like a basic assumption. But he was way more tactical. So then it left Mario out there at the front behind the pacemaker, and he was bringing the field through. But he wasn't bringing you guys through like super quick. I don't think he wanted to be the one to like burn himself too bad early on either. So it meant that the pace was just like kind of a moderate pace, which it was at 2:01 through 2 laps or something like that.
Probably.
It was the splits up to the last lap was 62, 60, 60.
Yeah. 62 for 409 and then 60, 60.
Yeah.
So super consistent. When you get to the bell at 3:02 and you've run it consistently, man, you must feel like pretty good. Like, is that how it was? Because you were in a nice spot in a pocket, just like kind of behind the leaders with a lap to go. Were you feeling pretty good? I imagine so.
Yeah, pretty comfortable. I think you're right. I think even Ritz was kind of trying to suggest to Joe that he should maybe like take the lead for a bit, but I mean, he definitely doesn't have to by any means. And like, yeah, maybe that would make the most sense to do like as good as possible. But I think he just wanted to like practice racing it as
that's the effort he wanted.
He spoke to me
as a
after the
tactician,
race, and he pretty much said that he wanted to work on his clothes. Like the race was more of a, I wouldn't say a training exercise, but for him he was very focused on closing hard.
A little bit.
Yeah,
it's a fair thing to say.
It's honestly not a bad way of looking at it.
Not to I think for him it was more of a, I want to be able to know that I can close, and he closed in 55.8. So like for him, like that's a really good positive because he knows he can close at 55.8 off 10K, 5K. Like he knows he can do that even from just running 3 laps before. He just wanted to have that feeling of being with a pack, trying to close and stay relaxed, and that was his kind of pretty much what he wanted to do in that race. Whereas like Ritz was kind of telling him, thinking maybe more like he wants to run a faster mile, he wants to be more competitive.
I think that's what the difference was. I think Ritz like wanted him to like try run like a PB, like a big PB, and Joe was like, "Nah, I just want to race it."
Yeah, I just want to
the conditions were not bad, but they weren't like super inspiring conditions to like go like rip a mile. Like they were nice because it was like cool and maybe a light rain. Was good. And like a little bit of wind at times, like it was a bit on and off the wind. So you could have run fast on this day, I would say, 100%. But it still wasn't like, it wasn't maybe like the right day, the right meet for it.
Yeah, these days people can run fast in any conditions.
No, like, you definitely could have run extremely quick there.
Yeah, 100%.
You could have. I think the situation just wasn't there in terms of like, I feel like everyone was just so relaxed and just like kind of hanging out before it. Yeah, no one was getting like fired up to like go do something special in the middle of the day. It was like when it's just kind of a spectacle.
It was such like a classic field of milers where everyone's like completely okay with like making it like a 400 race. Everyone's like so fine, so happy.
Literally 2016, like
everyone's so on board with the idea of like, let's run 60s and then we'll sprint the last lap as quick as we can. And that's exactly how it played out. And then as we all know, someone close to us has a very good chance of winning races like that. And George came. I'm always like, it happens every single time. You get the inside line. Like Mara, I don't know if this is the way Mara likes to race, but he races on the outside of lane 1, even before the last lap, I noticed. And
he's trying to, I think the reason why I do that is like, I just like to control that space.
Yeah, you want to make it harder for someone to come around you.
Well, if somebody comes in, like, I feel like I'm a decently broad guy. I'm not small. So if I'm hugging like that, I wouldn't know if you call it like the lane 1, that line between lane 1 and lane 2. If you're hugging that line on the straight, it does make it harder for people, like, because if you're going on the inside, you might have to like weave a little bit. If you're on the outside, you got to go further. It's more of a
definitely
tactical thing. But if you watch Mario, he does veer off that positioning that he had initially because Hold the Bolt.
Yeah, he had the challenge.
Was threatening him. So like, and Ritz did talk to him after the race. I overheard them talking about it. It's like, Ritz, like, you had to defend two sides. Like, unless you were able to consistently continue that momentum and prevent anybody from coming through, it's very hard to prevent, both sides being closed off. So
I think the natural reaction is to like defend the person on your outside because you can like feel them on your shoulder.
He knew it was Eric too. So like, I think for him, he was more like, okay, I got to defend from this guy because I know he's quick. I want to make sure I can go through the line. And I left a little gap open for a textbook.
Textbook George finish on the inside. I will say when I watched the replay and seeing Eric Holt, when he kicks down, you can tell like the moment he decides to kick down because he just goes into overdrive. Like, it's so good to see. And he was like, when you talk about like feeling the pressure on your outside, he's like the type of guy that you would feel the most pressure on because he's like going around the curve and he's like leaning in on you. Like, it's very apparent. So I can see why Mario would have been like very focused. Like, that's my challenge. And then a nice gap for George to come through on the inside, which is probably the best feeling ever.
Running the inside. It is nice. It's funny too because I was on the inside, like on the back straight. I think I almost was in, like, Joe went past me with like 300 to go.
The field was small. It was all together.
Yeah, because there's only 9 of us, so you couldn't really get that far back from the leader. And like, I was just waiting on the inside for something to open up. Like, Joe comes around me for a bit, but then someone else like moves out at like with like 250 to go. So then I like got a couple of places but then like round the curve, Mario's just on the rail. I'm like, all right, I'll just stay here, I guess, for a bit. And then 100 to go, it comes up and he's like still on the rail. It's like, well, I got nowhere to go. So I just keep running. And then right with like, because it's such a short straight. Like, so by the time he comes off the curve, it's like, I want to say it's like 80 or 70 to go maybe. It's really short. And then he just leaves the door open enough.
So my question for you, George, is what if he didn't? Did you have like an idea? I know obviously it's a very, very short period of time. You have a few seconds to think about this. But what would you do if he held the inside?
It crossed my mind.
Like, you couldn't get it out because your positioning was, you were kind of boxed in a little bit. I would say it would have been a bit of a dogfight to get out on the outside.
Plan B would have been very interesting.
Yeah.
The tough part is not necessarily like swinging out wide. You can do that, but the tough part is if you have to slow down to get the space to swing out wide and then speed up again.
I even still had to slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
With like
to wait
150 or 120 to go.
Yeah.
Just for like to get the timing right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know what I would have done.
You know what the answer to that is? I guess we'll never know.
Guess we'll never know. Kanye West.
But it is funny, like talking about running in the lane. Like in the replay, it looks like my foot is like so close to the rail. And it was the same at Milrose, like when Cooper went wide. Like my foot lands millimeters. I reckon,
The thing
from
is,
standing
finding
on
that
the rail.
gap.
if you're
It's kind of scary to look back at.
maybe this is the Ollie Talk shit segment, but if you're running at that quick of a speed, you're usually not deviating too much. You're usually just like pretty straight on. So I feel like even though you were super close to the rail, I don't think you were like necessarily worried about like going like this. You were just like this, you know.
Just
So, like,
hitting that gap.
Whereas like if you're running slower than that and you're like kind of looking around, you see the rail, I think you're more likely to step on it when you're just like banging it.
Yeah.
You're just like you're not
probably true.
deviating. But that's just an Ollie shit talk segment. Yeah.
But
Definitely,
Who knows if that's right or wrong? Who knows?
definitely felt pretty good. It's nice when 60s feel. I mean, there's pretty much 3K pace. Like we probably went at Milrose. I bet we went through in like 3:03. Like something probably very similar.
Yeah.
So it's nice that is feeling comfortable, and
That's a good sign.
last 100's still there.
And
when
you
I need
close in, was it a 53 for the last 400?
Yeah, I think 53 like 9.7 or something.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's always nice. That's a nice number to see
It's-
for your last
That's
lap.
the best miles in the world closed in 53, 54. But they might close off a quicker pace.
Definitely.
But yeah, like it's not. I get that's what these races are for, right? Like Josette, Cinta, and the boys will obviously get to Sage, but those races are just to go. Okay, I've got my kick. My kick's here, or like okay, I made a tactical error. I'm gonna learn from this, or you know, like I felt this. You know, the whole point of those races is just learning. Like I think it was my dad used to say to me that a bad race is better than a good training session because you learn so much from a bad race.
That's wisdom.
I like that.
And you like because when I was running like when I was like kind of shit, I remember I used to have shit races and my dad would always just say like you'll learn more from this than like if you just crushed like a really good workout and you felt amazing, like you'll learn so much more and it makes you a better runner. So these races are great for you guys.
Yeah,
'Cause,
I want to bring something up about that, but in a sec.
yeah, go.
Again, like I'm not, like it was a good chance to do that kind of thing, but also there's like no incentive for me to go make it fast. This is slightly an excuse because I'm not I don't even have, the only reason you make it fast at the moment, if you want a PR, which I probably wasn't going to run 350.
Yeah, 50, yeah.
And then I don't have a 1500 ranking anymore. So no matter what I do at the end of that race, like I'm still not gonna have a ranking. And so then there's like very little incentive for me to help. Some of those guys have rankings or want rankings, but
yeah.
and even Mario, like his ranking's not going to go up.
He doesn't know incentive either. He has no incentive to make it. Or the only incentive
Unless
he
he
has
thought
to
it was the
make
best chance to win.
The only incentive he had would to make it easier for him to win. That's the only reason why he'd go fast. Joe, for example, like he's not running the 1500.
What would it just mean if he thought that was how he wanted to win and that was his goal?
Or if it was a PR, like Rich thought maybe if he wanted a PR, he'd go hard. So like the incentive to run fast there really wasn't there for anyone.
Especially when you know you have a 6 mile workout after the race.
Yeah, true that. Rich did you guys dirty. He's never done that before. He's never told you the workout, but because it's so hectic at Penn.
Yeah, I think he had to. But that's brutal. That's brutal to know that you have 6 mile coming after it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I looked at that and I was like, I spoke to Rich. I was like, you did them dirty, and he's like, what are you talking about? They'll handle it. And I'm like, yeah, but like mentally, you're thinking, if I went out and crushed like a 350 mile and like really just put myself into the water to PR or whatever, and then you got to do a 6 mile and like some like strides or something after that, you're like, damn, I still got like
a lot of running fun.
Definitely the longest post race workout I've done. I think it's basically one by mile.
Who won the workout? Who won the day?
I think me and Joe kept it
pretty controlled.
Nice,
yeah, nice.
I think we ran a pretty good effort. I think.
Awesome.
That's good to hear.
I mean, it was sea level, so yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Maintaining.
count.
You're maintaining fitness. You're not gaining.
Just maintaining fitness.
It doesn't count.
Yeah.
But
I would love to get in another mile at some point though. Hopefully a faster one.
There's not many.
I don't know.
Only diamond leagues really.
they're out there. Well, there's other European meets that have good ones, but
miles.
You don't really 1500s.
Yeah.
You don't really know about them. It's hard to.
It is hard. Yeah.
They don't get like broadcasted to us as well as these
I feel
ones
like
do.
the 350 barrier is doable. I think.
Oh, 100%. I mean,
Perfect
like
day.
the place to do it, George, if it was possible to get you in, would be London, because London's a mile, and if the conditions are good, that'll be really fast. Because it's in the Olympic Stadium, I'm pretty sure.
I'm
I'm
unbeaten,
pretty sure. I'm not 100%.
Unbeaten in the mile this year. So what else do I need to do?
Tell Haas and just
I know.
Keep the good times rolling.
Tell the Dino Leagues.
Hey.
Yeah.
So got to be a miler for a week. That was fun.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it was pretty good. You know, it's running a Penn, racing a Penn, pretty fun. Particularly when you've got that nice crowd and just it's always a good time when you got a good raw.
Back to hurdling this morning though.
Back to hurdling. How was it?
Back to my day job.
Your day job? Okay.
Miler got to be a miler on the weekend, but now I'm back to jumping.
You're not gonna be a miler this coming weekend.
No, exactly.
Yeah. Is that I was gonna say the day job is gonna be your weekend job at that point.
That's true.
Yeah.
Damn.
But it was awesome race for George. Did a little workout, and then while you guys were working out was when Sage raced.
Heard a clucker.
She had a 600 meter race, which as distance runners, it's like 600 meter was like that's so short.
Yeah.
But for her, I think she loves sprinting, doing the quicker stuff, and this was, if you look at it based on rankings, this was potentially the most stacked.
It was, yeah.
Event
I think Rich said
in
it
the
was
meet.
the most stacked race.
Because it had Ajay and Natoya Gould. It was all. I don't think there was any 400 meter runners in it. I think it was all like really good, quick 800 meter runners. And Sage, she came third.
Yeah, 125.
125, which I'm gonna be honest, 125. I don't really know what that means.
Well, I think her goal was
sounds quick though.
Speaking of Sage, her goal was under 125, so 124, because I think.
What was the American record?
I think Archie Wilson's run 120.
I think maybe is it 122?
122.
I think she has the American record.
She does have. She's the American record holder in it. Watching that race though is really interesting because they go through with 200 to go, and they went through in 26.7 for the first 200. They were flying.
Yeah, they go out so hard.
And then you watch the last 100 meters, and it's just lactate. They were just
Regan
hurting, yeah. But Sage looked really good. I thought she did amazing. I mean, I was trying to interview her afterwards, and she was really
I can't believe that you were doing that.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad. I was like, I shouldn't have.
Like, Dick was really coming on.
No, Holly was trying to talk to her, and she would like be answering a question, and she would like look normal for a little bit, and then she literally had to go down on her knees with her hands on top of her head, and just she said she had the most painful headache ever.
Yeah, she went to her knee, like hands on knees, and then went to like fully just laying down, and then I was interviewing her. She was answering questions, and I'm thinking, oh, it's fine, because I'm thinking purely off the fact of like a miler's perception of you finish a race, you're pretty. Puffed and you can kind of have a conversation. And I'm not thinking of like, she just sprinted 600 meters at 125.
And she's just experiencing extreme lactate.
Mm-hmm. Did we find out what her lactate was?
I didn't find out.
Is that classified information? Probably not.
Probably
18 something, I think.
I thought it'd be going to be higher.
Apparently Mario was higher.
19, yeah.
Than Sage.
Yeah.
Classified information.
Yeah. Classified, yeah.
It really means nothing.
No, we don't know what it means.
Well, yeah.
I think it's a high number. But I don't know if that means anything.
Sounds very high to me.
All we know is we're proud of our teammates. They did great.
Mm-hmm.
Morgan and I were like nervous parents. We were, particularly you.
I should say this. I was like the most nervous I've ever been in a track meet.
So
like I was way more nervous than I've been when I've raced. I don't know if it's just because I care too much, and then it's out of my control. Maybe it's because I haven't raced in a while. It's like this is like just I don't really understand it, but. Yeah, watching people race is so hard. I can't imagine how Dathan feels.
Out of your control stuff is like...
Yeah.
But it's interesting for Dathan being a competitor to now being a coach, how he's dealt with that. Because I feel like when you're a competitor, you can control what you can control, you go in your race. But then having like 10 athletes compete at a meet, you're just like freaking out because...
And he's so invested.
Yeah, he's invested in everyone's journey.
I think I understand now why he's just like sprinting around and doing so much stuff. It's just to distract him from because otherwise you're just sitting there like... Fuck. I hope they race well.
That's why he has 5 stopwatches. He's like, 26.
Yeah, like I get it now. Because,
he's like probably trying to control like what he can.
Yeah,
exactly. So that makes sense. But
the Mike Dunn videos were great.
Yeah.
Of that.
Oh, yeah. I want to see more of him. He's so positive. He's just, I don't know how many times he said,
great race. Great race.
Yeah. He was so happy. I mean, for us, for the team, like it was just an awesome day.
It's a good day.
It's relatively like, well, every time we race as pros, there's a certain amount of pressure and expectation, but relatively lower and just a lot of fun racing in front of a crowd like that and being in some cool events. So that was awesome. Like, it was so fun to be out there. And yeah, as Ollie said, very proud of our teammates.
Very proud.
Good job, George, on getting the win. Got to feel
dub.
good going into this next one. But yeah, that was race day. Nothing else really much happened on that day, I don't think. And then the final day, we had a flight in the afternoon. So in the morning, we had a coffee club meetup bright and early, 8:30 in the morning. And I don't think we'll spend too much time on this because we actually don't have that much time left.
No.
But it was sick.
It stayed dry for probably 10 minutes.
When we met up, it was cool because it was dry. And then it started pouring and like really raining, and we were so wet, and we had planned out to go get coffee and stuff after it, but we had to just can that because we were like, everyone was soaked, and it was like, thank you guys so much for like coming, we'll get some pictures and stuff, but then you guys should probably go get dry because
We don't want you getting sick.
you don't want you getting sick and all that. But I think the main thing that we probably want to say is that it was just so amazing to see everyone out there and everyone that we got to chat to before, during, after the run, all that. It was so
It was
good.
pretty surreal. I had an amazing time. It was probably my favorite part about Philly.
Yeah.
I mean, that coffee club, the podcast with Devin is obviously up there, and then the group run was just incredible, and it was just a great few days. It really was.
So thank you to everyone that came out and had a good time with us. As we said, hopefully we'll be doing that again this weekend in LA, but we'll put that out on our Instagram, the exact plans for that. But pencil that into your calendars. So that was Penn, and overall a very successful, fun trip. Check out the reel that we posted on Instagram because I think it's just a great behind the scenes recap of it and gives you a good taste of like what we got to experience. So moving on from that, we really don't have much time, so we'll do this kind of quick. This weekend, going back to the racing at in LA, for the amount of different names that like are floating in my head for this meet is so many now, because so it's part of the On Running Track Night series, but this one is run by Sound Running, but it's called TRACKFEST.
Yeah,
I believe it's TRACKFEST.
On Track Nights, TRACKFEST, Sound Running,
presented
LA,
at the Mount Balsac.
Invitation. Not of invitational. Championship.
There's probably a couple more titles in there
Championship of the
somewhere.
world.
Yeah.
I mean, I think so. Explain quickly. Track nights, what the idea is with On for that, because like people obviously have been seeing promotional stuff with reels about like all these different locations and what On is trying to.
So what they're trying to do, I think it's really cool. They're taking these meets that already exist and already have like pre-established like vibes to them, like specific races that are like big for these ones, and they're trying to elevate them. They're pretty much trying to help make these meets even more exciting and get more people out there, and hopefully lead to better races. I think they're always trying to get like a better like gold level, whatever that is called. They're trying to get them as like hype as possible for meets that aren't like part of like the Diamond League.
Pretty much.
So they have a series, and the first one of the year is this one in LA, which obviously this meet already existed, and On already was sponsoring it last year, but now they're bringing in I think you can see on their social media all the different stuff that they're bringing in, but they have freaking live performance from Kyle, some rapper. They have a lot of, is this correct? If you buy a ticket, you have access to all this free food?
Mm-hmm. All the food trucks are free if you're there.
And they're doing, like, all of our team is going to be there. So all this cool stuff is happening around it. And this one has the actual races are pretty stacked, like some really good races for us. We barely have any time, but
I'm hearing, all right, they're making a series of races of existing meets, mostly distance only, making them cool.
Dude, it's a crazy concept, isn't it?
What? Have they been listening to the pod? What's going on here?
It seems
They just
like
got the wrong name.
suspicious.
The only thing they have is the wrong name. Which
seems like they might be onto something.
But yeah, like
because this one's distance only. Night of 10Ks in London. That sounds like it's going to be distance only.
I think
the Paris one is
Fast
all
5K.
5Ks. That's distance only.
I don't know. There's one in Vienna.
The Vienna one,
we
not
don't
sure.
have full information.
And the other one is
what's the last
Zatopek.
one?
Is Zatopek in Australia,
Really?
which is a 10K champs.
That's distance only as well.
So that's 4.
Yeah.
In Vienna, we don't know because we don't know much about that one.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I mean,
it could be 5 distance only meets with
time will tell, because sometimes
festival and
things could get out of
beers
hand.
and stuff.
But
All right, very cool. Very cool.
So we have.
So we're hype.
Who do we have racing for?
We're hype. So
for our
obviously George
Yeah.
doing back to the steeple. We talked about this after his last steeple. That this is going to be He's first time up against the big boys.
The big
This
roosters.
is
Big
such
dogs.
a stacked steeple race.
Really is.
All the best US
Hillary
guys.
Bohr, Bernard Keita, Joey Bags,
Aaron Yeager.
Updike, Isaac Updike. Evan unconfirmed. I don't know.
Oh, is Aaron Yeager unconfirmed?
Aaron Yeager unconfirmed.
He's still battling the rumbling.
Is
Evan
Felix?
Jagerborn?
Evan
Yeah.
Yeager. Yeah.
Is Felix Big Bird racing?
Big Bird not racing.
Not
John
racing.
John Gay
John
is
Gay's
racing.
Legend.
Been Bucks.
Oh, Bucks. Yeah, Bucks is
Bucksy.
coming over
OAC
from
Oceania.
Australia. Yeah.
OAC Jewel right here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
gonna run hard that one this time. Hopefully.
gonna get after it.
Had
Run
a
fast.
secret hurdle coach in town
Oh no.
last week. So.
That's top secret. You don't know how to talk about that.
No, I'm not talking about it.
Now
Do
people want to know.
do people know who?
Been,
This is another call to the detectives out there. Do you know who George's top secret hurdle coach is? Because this is something that has flown under the radar so far, for good reason. Because it's like massive.
it's so big.
It's massive.
Didn't make no contest, didn't make anything.
Yeah, I took a picture of it, so
Yeah.
I have the
photo.
blackmail.
I have a photo on my phone as well.
I have the blackmail. It's out there if we need to use it. But
Yeah.
George is ready to
We'll
go.
leave that unresolved.
Getting coached by the best. But then apart from George, on the men's side, we also have the 800 meters, the meetup between Yared and Mario. And
I'm so excited for that
It's
race.
gonna be so
I
entertaining.
assume there's a bunch of other. I think everyone else in the field is probably really good as well.
It's a
I
really
think
good
it's
effort
really
film.
good.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be.
1500 for
Are we gonna
the-
make picks on them, or
Well,
is that too contentious?
honestly, I reckon they're gonna be fighting for the line. I reckon it's gonna be hard between the two of them. And it's gonna be-
Yeah, let's say the time and time prediction for each of them.
I
reckon 146 for both of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say 146 for both as well. Do you
Really?
think? Do you think?
Colin Salami just ran 146.
Did he?
Yeah,
Alright,
these guys are
143 then.
elite. Not saying Colin Salami's not good.
Yeah, but okay.
Colin Salami against
Colin
Jared
Salami
Nagoose.
ran 146.99. I'm saying that they're going to run 146 off running like a 52 first, 400.
I think they're
and
better
closing it down.
than half a second.
140.
Then-
145 is really fucking quick.
Now that you put it like that, I'm gonna say 145.
145 is
Changing
really
my
quick.
answer to 145. Do you think?
I'm saying Jared runs. I'm saying 145.01. Mario 145.89.
My predictions will be very similar. Do you guys another one?
I wouldn't be surprised if Jared runs 144.9 though.
He seems like the type of guy that would do that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
I,
because-
I don't put anything past
honestly,
it.
his torso lean at the line will get him from 145.0 to 144.9.
I can see it.
144 is so quick. So quick.
He's
Yeah.
around 728.
I know.
Isn't 728
What is
is mind blowing.
145? That's 52.5 per lap. I think Jared can do that.
Yeah, I think
I think you
Mario
can run 144.
Well, what's Mario's PB? 146.
146.
146
Actually,
something.
now I'm thinking, 140. If Mario's on 146 in college, obviously conditions, everything has to work out well.
Yeah.
Well, okay,
And
145.
The weather looks beautiful. They're in a
I'm
field
being a
of
bit-
full professional 800
I'll
meter
tell you what I
runners.
hope for. I hope that Mario goes out the very front and Yared goes out at the very back,
and they meet in the middle with a lean.
and then a big kick down at the end. That's how
I'm
I
excited
hope
for that
it.
race. And then we have
The women's 1500 is Sage and Cinta getting after it.
Getting after it.
Really good field. So I know that they're both hungry to, run a quick time. Looking at the world champ standards and all that, so they're gonna be getting after it.
Yep.
And then Josette in the 5K, which we don't know exactly how this is going to play out because Alicia was meant to pace her, and she unfortunately has contracted COVID, the COVID-19 virus. So no longer doing that. So I don't know what the
Got a
pacing
replacement. D. Jones is the
Oh,
Danny
replacement.
Danny.
Jones is the replacement.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you, Danny.
That's a very good replacement.
It was a very
I think
good
she's- I think-
replacement.
I think Riz was saying she ran on the 800, and then an hour after that she's going to help pace. So
It's very kind
I
of.
think they're still going to. Everything's back on schedule.
Are there lights?
Don't know.
I don't
Don't
think
know.
so.
Wasn't he trying to get them for the 10K and they didn't come in yet?
No, they have lights. They have lights, but literally it's the stage, and the stage has the lights, and it goes around. It's just Kyle. It's just that Kyle guy.
It's just
singing,
him
and
with
it's
a
just
torch.
going around. Yeah, and then the runners are following him, and he's just singing like "I spy with my little." I don't know how it goes, but it's,
I think that's how it goes.
that's how it goes. All right, yeah, but that's what the pacing light is.
So
Need
This-
that little Harvard kids invention.
yeah, we need that right now. Get on the track. I wonder if that would ever be legal. For those who are wondering, a kid from Harvard for his engineering, I think his capstone project or whatever you call that stuff, he's making a pacing
CAT
robot.
scan.
CAT scan
Capstone.
Oh,
project.
CAT.
You wouldn't know. You didn't have to do one. Nor did I. Only George did. But it's a big deal,
Did
apparently.
George go to Harvard?
Yeah. He goes engineering
know
degree
that?
from the Harvard of Arizona.
Yeah.
That's what they call it.
The Harvard. That's
The Harvard of Northern Arizona.
That's what Mike Smith is calling it.
The Harvard of Cocochino. What's the area called?
Coconino County.
Coconino
The
County.
Harvard of Coconut
Coconut
County.
Yeah.
Coconut County.
But yeah, I think we're out of time because Ollie has to go to a very important appointment.
Feet pics.
Yeah.
Get some feet pics. But we do want to stress that just amazing weekend of racing coming up. If
Yeah.
anyone's in the area, we hope to see you guys out there because we're all going to be there. Gonna bring stickers, meeting up, doing all that, meet and greet, say
Don't
hello.
be shy.
Don't be shy. The next day, hopefully, doing a meetup. So very excited to see the results that come from it, the races, and hopefully
100%.
we see you guys out there. Yeah, wow, that felt like a very rushed finish. But is there anything else that we have?
No, I think we covered everything. I think it was awesome.
By PP View. If you're not coming.
Oh yeah. Does
But you
that go towards the money that the winners get?
Apparently, yes.
Something like that.
That's what it says.
Well, I mean, like, it says that, but I don't know that because I don't run the thing. But yes, apparently, if you buy
You
that, it
donate
goes
money.
to
So, it will
the
go to
boy.
me. It won't go to Ollie and Wogs.
it goes to the purse.
True. It goes to the
I
price.
guess I have to win.
It goes to Mount Ballsack.
It goes directly to Mount Borsack, whoever that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it from us for episode 84. Once again, we said so many thank yous this episode, but they were all extremely well deserved. We had a great time at Penn, and I'm very much so looking forward to this one this weekend. So that's it from us, episode 84. Hope to see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.